The film opens in a restaurant as waitress Drew Kiki Palmer is tending to customers, treating them like family. She walked to the kitchen and almost fell on the floor while holding the dishes because the floor was wet. She started having a conversation with Joe, the one who was fixing the dishwasher, which making the floor wet. He manages to fix the washer, but the high-pressured water throw him to the wall. She is later picked up by her best friend and roommate, Alyssa, and dropped her at Mama Ruth's house. The ladies live in a part of Los Angeles called the Jungles, which houses a small community of folks, but their apartment complex is run by a strict landlord named Uche, Rizzi Temene. Dre and Alyssa also share a place with Alyssa's freeloading boyfriend, Kayshawn, whom Dre hates, but Alyssa cannot seem to cut ties with, partially because of the sex. Drew later goes to the apartment's vendor, Mama Ruth, where she runs into a local man called Maniac, Patrick Cage, whom Drew is attracted to. It's where she started flirting with him, but Maniac didn't seem attracted by her, so he then gave Drew a meet and told her he will see her around. Drew is hoping to earn a new high-paying job as a franchise manager, while Alyssa is an artist who has not had much luck selling her artwork. Later, the tenants watch as their first white neighbor, a young woman named Bethany. She approaches Drew and Alyssa, though they do not seem interested in hanging out with Bethany. As Dre tries to rest before a big interview later, she is woken up by the sound of pounding on the door. It is Uche coming to collect the rent since it is the first of the month. Dre insists that Alyssa gave him the money already, but Uche says no. He gives the ladies until 6 that night to gather the rent money or they will be kicked out. Dre goes to Alyssa's room where she tells her that she gave the money to Kayshawn. Before they can confront him, they find that he is already gone. The ladies find Kayshawn's phone and bring it to their hairdresser, Jamil, to jailbreak it. They learn that Kayshawn is seeing another woman named Bernice, Aziza Scott. Dre and Alyssa find Bernice's apartment, with Dre trying to create a distraction for Bernice, while Alyssa sneaks into the bedroom and finds Kayshawn sleeping. She tries to grab his wallet, but he wakes up. Bernice catches on to the distraction and finds Alyssa in the room after Kayshawn revealed he spent their rent money on his knockoff t-shirt business. Before Bernice can get the ladies, they start to run but find that their car was towed because Alyssa parked in front of a fire hydrant. Bernice chases them on foot until she runs headfirst into an open car door, humiliating her in front of the neighborhood. She then vows revenge against Drew and Alyssa. With 8 hours to go before they are evicted, Drex and Alyssa resort to going to a loan office, payday whenever, to try and get rent money. A man outside named Lucky tries to persuade them against it since he has taken out too many loans and hasn't been able to pay them back. The ladies meet with an obnoxious loan officer named Kathy, who mocks Alyssa for having no income and Drooks for having a ridiculously low credit score. Drew and Alyssa then go to a blood bank to donate and earn money for it. Unfortunately, Drew, who is doing the donating, gets stuck with an inexperienced nurse named Ruby, who convinces her to donate 4 bags of blood. Drew is left pale and woozy by the end of it. Alyssa and Ruby get into a fight, which leads to them dropping Drew's blood bags everywhere, causing a mess and leaving them with no money except for some vouchers for apple pies at Church's Chicken. The ladies go to Church's for their food, only for a masked bandit to make off with them. This is witnessed by Maniac, who pulls up in his car as he is getting food. He buys food for Dro and Alyssa, who are thankful. Afterwards, Alyssa leaves the two alone since she has come up with an idea for how to make money and also so Dro can be alone with Maniac. While riding with him, Dro learns that Maniac abandoned his gang life and is trying to do better in his community. Not long after, Drew gets a phone call from Lucky telling her that Alyssa is about to do something life-threatening.
If you don't get your ass over here.
Maniac drives her there to find that Alyssa has climbed a landline to get a pair of retro Air Jordans that someone threw up on the wires. Drew tries to talk her down, but Alyssa manages to get them down just before she is electrocuted and falls right on top of Drew. They end up in an ambulance but run when it stops moving so they don't have to pay for the bill. But the EMTs tell them they know where to bill them. Later after the incident, Keshawn and Bernice go by Church's Chicken to ask to find Drew and Alyssa after getting the information they needed. They ordered food. While the food was about to be delivered to them, the masked bandit took off with the food, and Bernice drove and hit him with his car and took back the food.
Real 92.
Drace and Alyssa arrange for a buyer to get the Jordans after cleaning them up. Dre meets the buyer, Lil Rel Howery, at the park where she makes up a story about how they belong to her dad. This makes the buyer cry, and Dre knocks the price down, but that was his plan all along. So they get $1,000 less than what was promised, but it is enough to pay the rent. Alyssa joins Drew as they go to Drew's interview after fixing her up a bit. Drew meets with Norman, Morgan Peter Brown, and Shayla, Gabrielle Dennis. The latter connects with Drew, who is doing a good job and makes a solid impression. Outside, Alyssa buys a fruit cup from a cart and takes pictures with the vendor to send to Keshawn and pretend that's her new man. Bernice sees the pictures and knows where to find Alyssa. Just as Drake's is finishing up the interview and being told by Shayla that she is what they are looking for, they witness Bernice beating Alyssa's ass, and Drake's is unable to pretend she doesn't know them because Alyssa is calling her name. Drake tries to defend Alyssa, but Bernice beats them both up and even booty slams them for added humiliation. To add insult to injury, she even steals Alyssa's money. Dre tries to save face, but Shayla says that maybe she is not what they're looking for. Dro finds out Alyssa revealed their location because she was still talking to Keshawn. The ladies decide to go their separate ways after a fight, but Alyssa gets a phone call from neighborhood thug King Joseph.
I'm here.
The Jordans that Alyssa sold belong to him, and he wants twice as much money as what they were sold for by 10 that night, or he will kill both ladies. The two go back home to find that Uche has already moved their stuff out onto the street since it is 6:30. Dre pleads with him since it is still the first of the month, and he gives them until just before midnight to come up with the rent. Dre and Alyssa sit on their couch outside in defeat until Bethany walks by and sees Alyssa's artwork. Dre sells one of them to Bethany for $300 and then takes Bethany up on her Prosecco and Pals offer. Dro proposes an idea to Alyssa that they set up a pop-up art show that night so Bethany can invite her rich hipster friends so they can pay hundreds for Alyssa's artwork, hoping to make enough money to pay the rent and pay off Lolo. The ladies put on the art show with 3 hours left until Lolo comes to collect. Shayla shows up after being invited, and Drooks is able to talk to her so that Shayla can give her a second chance. They manage to make up to $52,000, but Alyssa suggests that they keep the money and not be scared of Lolo. That is, until he and his two goons show up before 10. He fires off a gunshot to scare the crowd away, leaving Dre X alone to confront him before Alyssa creates a distraction for Dre to run. Drex and Alyssa hide in the streets until someone believed to be the cops comes to get Lolo, forcing him to run. Drape and Alyssa run back into their apartment to hide, only to find Kayshawn there with dozens of candles lit up to try and win Alyssa back since he is now terrified of Bernice.
Thank you.
Alyssa refuses, just as Lolo shows up and prepares to kill everyone. A piece of the ceiling falls on his head and knocks him out, but the candles cause a fire that spreads throughout the apartment. Alyssa opts to save Lolo despite his attempted murder just as they hide, and Drew and Alyssa reaffirm their love for one another. They are saved moments later by firefighters, led by Maniac. Lolo is apprehended by the loan officers since Alyssa called them after she saw Lolo's picture on their wall of bounties for delinquent borrowers. Maniac tells Drews that Uche will be in trouble due to violating fire hazard protocols, but they might be able to be saved with home insurance. Drews also promises to give Maniac a call. Drew and Alyssa later sit in the ruins of their apartment as they start to decide how they will fix things. Ending text states what happened to all the characters. Drew and Alyssa got a new landlord who helped fix their apartment. Kayshawn talked Bethany into letting him crash at her place, but her dog chewed up all of Kayshawn's sneakers. Nobody ever messed with Bernice again, but sometimes she wishes a bitch would. Ruby went back to stripping after many failed attempts at getting a real job. Lucky is still lucky. Lisa's artwork now sells for $1,000, while Drew is killing it as a franchise manager while maintaining a relationship with Maniac. Together, they now have a combined credit score of 447, but they are working on it together as best friends. If you liked this recap, please give the video a thumbs up, comment, share, and subscribe for more recaps. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie recap.